Alright, welcome back to the channel, guys. This is GLG Garret. Today I'm doing a deck profile, deck breakdown for Purple Black Luffy. So I've really loved this leader ever since it came out in OP09, and I've continually tested with it, finding lists, especially after Gecko was banned. And I felt like I had an okay list before the starter decks. It kind of relied around the 10 drop. But now with the starter decks, I like this strategy a lot more. It feels like you get to be a lot smarter with like Dom manipulation and whatnot. And it's a little less like, ramp to 10 and drop Luffy kind of thing. So let's go ahead and get just right on into the deck profile. Alright guys, so first off, we have our leader, Purple Black Luffy. You probably know what it does. It's seeing a lot of play now after the starter decks, but basically it has a defensive capability of Dawn ×1. All your characters gain +1 cost, which is relevant into a decent amount of matchups. And then once per turn, if you -2 or more Dawn, you get 1 active, 1 rested. So you've likely seen it by now if you're playing on the sim or anything. So yeah, starting off, we have 4 Searcher Laws. This card's gotten a lot better over time. The fact that now you're basically never going to whiff. Whereas before, when you're running Gecko and things like that, I would whiff my search a lot with this card. So that's a 4 of. You need it. We're also running 2 of these search events. This was something that I ran before because I felt like I had a hard time finding the key pieces back then. I think especially now, it's a good way to spend your extra Dom when you ramp in the early game. The trigger is really nice. So this can find your Law also, and it can find Gum Gum Giant, whereas Law can't find Gum Gum Giant. So it has its benefits, but I think 2 is fine. I think if you have more, it's a little unnecessary. Yeah. So those are our searchers. We're running 6. Going into 2Ks, obviously we're running 4 Usohachi. It's just a really good card. And searchable with Law. We're running 2 of the Sanji, which I've kept this in the deck for now because I feel like there's a good amount of situations where you end up minusing basically you end up minusing 4 Dawn in 1 turn, so you're down 2 from your opponent, especially in the late game, and then just being able to drop just like a 3-cost blocker is really good. And then if you have a Dawn on leader, it's like a 7 cost on board, so it's not very easy to interact with. And then we're running, so these are going into our ramp cards, 2 Black Maria, 4 Nico Robin, and that's all our 2Ks. So, and then 4 Zoro. The reason I have this at 2 and 2 is I feel like I see this ramp enough, turn 1 or 2, and that's basically it. Like I value this searchable target, and the like defensive capabilities of him slightly more than I do having like Black Maria at 4. Yeah, so we have 10 rampers. I used to run Bon Clay in the list, but I think it's unnecessary now. Going into blockers, I'm running 2 of the Choppers, and I'm running 4 Frankie. I still think Frankie's like an outstanding card. I know that you do end up Dom minusing quite a bit sometimes in the late game, but we do run a couple cards to sort of mitigate that cost a little bit, and then the value you get off this blocker is like too good to me. And then the chopper. This originally I had the Nami blocker that is kind of like Frankie, but I found that as I was playtesting, one Bonney matchup is so difficult, and then just having this option to rest their Dawn is very nice. Two, into like green Purple Luffy, blue Purple Luffy. I mean, those are like three of the top 10 decks in the meta right now. Also in the mirror match, dropping this and then having like essentially a chump blocker that if you don't end up winning on that turn, but you rest their Dawn, so you're probably going for game or going for board, and then you just have a chump blocker after that. So I think it's a really good card, but it's pretty situational, so that's why it's only a 2 of. Going into more like top end or like the core of the deck, we have 4 of the new starter deck Luffys. I mean, this is like the deck really revolves around this card. You really want to see it. You really want to protect it. Yeah, it has to be a 4 of, in my opinion. It's the whole reason this deck is like competing for top of the meta right now. Being able to be a 7k leader, and then also later on being able to play out big bodies and then still Dawn minus is really strong. Next, we're running just 2 of the secret rare Luffy from EBO2. Just having the rush option is nice, and when this hits the board, it's like such a threat, and your opponent feels like they just need to deal with it. I think 2 is fine. There's a lot of situations where I feel like I have stronger plays than just throwing this out on board. Like for instance, if I have this Luffy, I'm going to play it instead. Situationally, depending on kind of like the board state and the matchup, I have some other top end cards that I would just prefer. But yeah, 2 of. Next, we're running 4 of the Rush Sanji. I think this is a super good card. It helps into blue purple, and it helps into Bonney a lot. To me, being able to like rest their Cavendish on curve, like ideally I'd play, I go second and ramp once, and allow them to play out their 5 cost, whatever it may be. Sanji to rest it, and then swing 8 into it, right? And in that way you can starve them a bit, and then follow up with this Luffy afterwards. So that feels really strong to me. I feel like it needs to be a 4 of. And so next I'm running 2 Soba Mask. Conceptually, I think this card is like so amazing. I struggled putting it in the list for a while, and until like I play tested a bit more, and what I realized was, like I was saying, this Sanji is so good into your bad matchups, and I wanted a way to make it a stronger card into like the 50-50 matchups, or even like into blue purple, whatever, right? Like Sanji doesn't feel that great most of the time. So my problem was I had it at 3 before, and I felt like I need to bump it up to 4. And so to make it a stronger card, I added Soba Mask. And so that's basically it. I think being able to get this off, ideally play, if you go first, play Luffy on 6, and then on 8 play Sanji -1, and then swing with Luffy to -2 and buff your leader, and then play out Soba Mask. So now you have a 7k, a 9k, and a 7k leader, and then you got this 1k back. So I think it's a really strong card, and I'll keep it how it is for now, depending on like how relevant like those bad matchups are, like Bonney and whatnot. Next, we're running 3 Katakuris. Um, so this is what I was talking about, being able to mitigate some of the Dawn minusing. If you can get this out on curve, it feels so strong. Like Luffy into Katakuri, it just feels like you can't lose because you have 7k, 8k blocker, you got a Dawn back, and a 7k leader. So you feel like pretty unstoppable at that point. I'm only running it at 3 because it doesn't feel like that amazing into blue purple. Or yeah, I mean it's very good generically, but what I noticed was you need to be a little more aggressive sometimes. So like I was saying, on 8 you could play Sanji Soba Mask. If I had that, I would prefer to do that than just drop Katakuri. Just to me, that just feels stronger. I'm starving out the opponent or removing a character or whatever. So it's kind of like a little more situational. Next, we're running 2 Stussy. I wanted a way to. This is basically, I know some people are running like 9-cost Luffy. To me, this was a way to combat blue purple Luffy, because just having this 7k on board or Katakuri, it's like not enough sometimes to get over them, especially when they start stacking their board. So having Stussy and allowing you to keep up with their board state, like if they go Sanji Lin maybe, or Sanji Luffy, you play Stussy, pop their Luffy, and now you kind of went like even in board state. So I think it's really good. And it helps against like Bonney, decks like that. So I feel like it makes your bad matchups a little better, and it makes the blue-purple matchup feel a little better also. So, and what feels really strong is if you have Luffy on board, you could play Stussy on 9 Dawn, and then swing with Luffy to get Dawn back. So you could still leave Dawn up for Giant. So obviously we're running 4 Gum Gum Giant. I mean, it's just like a very good card, right? And then lastly, 1 Gamma Knife. So also, this before I had was Lightning, Gum Gum Lightning. But I felt that card was also situationally good, whereas Gamma Knife is almost always good, especially into a lot of the decks right now that are putting out those big bodies, or even 7Ks, right? Like in the mirror match. And that's where I kind of figured out this was good, was in playtesting, and other people getting this against me felt so gross because they would reduce my Luffy to 2k, and I can't. They'll just swing at it, and maybe I'll ditch my whole hand to save it, but it's not even worth it. So super impactful card. Yeah, also helps against Bonney. Going into, I kind of explained some of the reasons I made the choices I did. Things that I may change is I would possibly increase Black Marias. I've had some difficulty against the new Blackbeard builds that are able to remove your bodies every turn, and they use leader ability every turn, so you can't ramp. So unless you see Black Maria, you're playing at equal Dawn as them, and that allows them to be able to like continually remove whatever you just played. So potentially reduce Sanji and increase Black Maria for that reason alone. I think every other matchup it's fine. I think if I have Zoro in hand, I would rather play that usually. But yeah, so for Blackbeard specifically, I do that. Also, this 6-cost Luffy is also very good into Blackbeard. And when you're only running 2 and you're not able to get your searches off, It feels very hard to, if they draw well, they cycle so much that they can kind of see whatever they want. Whereas if they turn off your on plays, you're not searching, you're not cycling. Your only cycle is Gum Gum Giant if you even see it, right? And if you're not ramping, you don't necessarily want to use Gum Gum Giant, right? So, possibly increase Luffy, but I don't really know what I would cut for it. I think I would have to reduce Soba Mask. But like I said, I think, these cards help you keep up with Blue Purple, and it's all super dependent on what the meta ends up looking like, right? So, Blue Purple's obviously very strong right now. You never know what's going to be kind of the best deck in the moment. So this feels like a very good generic build to me, where I feel like I stand a good chance against anything I might play. Whereas obviously if the meta shifts in a certain way or one deck's really predominant, I think that's when you can start making some little changes, like if Blackbeard's popular, more Black Marias, more Luffy's, right? And stuff like that. Maybe more search events too. So anyways, that's going to be it for the deck profile. All right, guys, so that's going to be it for today. Thanks for watching this Purple Black Luffy deck profile. Like I said, this feels like a good generic list to me to start with. Let me know if you guys have any techs that you've been liking into whatever matchup. I'm just curious to hear ideas. It's super fun that we get to explore this deck without the help of seeing what the East is doing and whatnot. So yeah, I'd love to hear everyone's ideas. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share with a friend. GLG out.